almost naked animals. I actually do remember this one. Whoa, this got washed from my memory that this even existed. Welcome back to the Stanley channel. Today is gonna be me, it's gonna be chat, and we are reacting to a video from the one and only the homie PeekBlast. 8 worst SpongeBob ripoffs that you've never heard of. Let's get into it.
You might be too young to remember, but SpongeBob was the cartoon that changed the game in
What's
the 2000s.
good, Carter? Appreciate the first time chat.
What you probably have no clue about is just how many.
I feel like who the heck is that? Who are you? And what are you doing here? Get out. Who is that? But I feel like everybody should know, regardless of your age, that SpongeBob is the pioneer for like, SpongeBob is that cartoon. Like, he's the Mickey Mouse of cartoons, like, too, as well. Like, it's Mickey Mouse and SpongeBob. Like, they're boom boom. Like, I feel like everybody knows that.
Terrible, low-quality cartoons are blatant ripoffs of Nickelodeon's biggest hit. The first bizarre SpongeBob knockoff on today's list has to be the strange, unauthorized trilogy of animated movies called SpongeBob in Tehran. If you didn't know, Tehran is the capital of Iran, one of the biggest countries in the Middle East. These low-budget and honestly creepy animations were uploaded to YouTube between 2017 and 2020.
Is this by a creator or is this by a company?
The creators didn't even bother changing the characters. This is a straight-up copy of the real SpongeBob, right down to the name, even though it has zero connection to Nickelodeon. Now that's what I call having no fear of a copyright lawsuit.
Right.
Believe it or not, the first film came out in 2017, followed by a sequel in 2018 called SpongeBob in Chabahar, and later SpongeBob in Tehran 2.
Dang, I'm not gonna lie, you can't cap. Over time, though, they really started upgrading the quality. Why is Mr. Krabs black? Yo, why is there a black Mr. Krabs in the whip?
Featured underwater versions of celebrities, including a fish version of Brazilian soccer star Vinicius Jr. We can't deny it. Despite being a wild and awkward ripoff, they sure had guts, and maybe even some creativity. But that's just the first insane SpongeBob clone we're exposing today.
Yeah.
Get ready to have your mind blown, because we're diving deeper right now.
Whoa. They're literally just recreating the episodes. That's crazy.
Right after that not-so-great SpongeBob copy we just talked about, it seems like a studio in Pakistan called Green Animation Studio decided the world needed even more underwater madness. So in 2008,
that's not even a sponge no more.
They launched a disturbing version starring a pink starfish and his best buddy, a greenish sponge wearing square pants. Even though this time they tweaked the character designs a bit, they still copied the storyline, animation style, and overall vibe. And if that wasn't enough, they also copied the name. The result? A 55-minute movie uploaded directly to YouTube titled Bobby and Bobo in Iran, Save the Sybil's Gold. To top it off, even though it was in Persian and I couldn't understand a word, the voice acting sounded exactly like the SpongeBob we all know. A high-pitched, super annoying voice straight out of Bikini Bottom. What we don't get is, why was the cartoon made in Pakistan but shown in Iran? These are two different countries that don't even speak the same language. A true mystery. But one thing's for sure, this ripoff is terrible. Let's go way back now to a ripoff that made history on YouTube. Although to be fair, it leans more toward a comedy parody. Known as SpongeBob in China. For a long time I actually believed this was a bizarre and poorly made Chinese version of SpongeBob created by some local animator. But years later, I rewatched that awkwardly funny video and found out it was actually a parody made by a Dutch comedy group called Boom Chicago. It hilariously, and even a bit darkly, imagines what SpongeBob's life would be like if he lived in China. Just a heads up, this video was made in 2012, nearly 15 years ago.
Yeah, before, like, being not this unsensitive. There we go. Before you know what I'm saying, people cared about other people's feelings. That's when this video was made. I know the jokes in here are crazy. Crazy.
In this weird and exaggerated alternate universe, SpongeBob still lives under the sea, but instead of a pineapple, his home is a Chinese takeout box. And on top of that, he lives in a highly polluted environment, clearly a jab at Beijing. And when he visits an ATM, he finds out he only has enough money to buy half a chicken. The animation is insanely bad, fully hand-drawn, probably by someone with the hand-eye coordination of a 3-year-old. Still, I have to admit,
there a schedule for SXY?
No. I laughed at a few parts of it.
It's 2 to 4, but who knows if we swing.
Wake up. Get out of bed. Do not eat that less than failure.
Now let's jump to the United States. Ironically, SpongeBob's own home country and the place with most knockoffs of him. The first case on our list is probably also the most extreme. It's an adult parody of the cartoon created by the pop culture channel VH1 called SpongeBob Hempants. This version of the undersea sponge.
I did see this one before. This one did make its circles in the communities of the black diaspora.
Got completely shut down by Nickelodeon. The show featured a SpongeBob-like character who constantly smoked. Let's just say, not regular cigarettes, if you catch my drift. And instead of Patrick, SpongeBob's best buddy is a talking pile of weed with arms and legs. It's funny, sure, but definitely...
Bro's best friends with Reggie. See what I did there? Because Reggie is weed, but I was also saying Reggie because Reggie is a streamer. So, like, best friend with Reggie. I fuck with Reggie. It was just, the joke was right there to make the two cry. Okay.
Not suitable for kids. Other characters show up too, like Sandy, who in this version is a total junkie in desperate need of help. Among other things, we really shouldn't even mention here. Bottom line, do not watch this version of SpongeBob that was intentionally leaked online back in 2010. Trust me, it's just not worth it. Still, since it's one of the weirdest ripoffs out there, it earns its place on our list.
Are you ready, stoners? Oh!
Yo.
Hold on, gay. Oh! Who lives in a bung in a dormitory?
Before we dive into the rest of the worst and most bizarre SpongeBob knockoffs, hit that subscribe button right now so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. Now let's talk about probably the most well-known SpongeBob knockoff of all time, Coconut Fred's Fruit Salad Island. After watching Nickelodeon rake in millions with SpongeBob, Warner Brothers, the company behind Cartoon Network, decided in 2005 that they needed their own version of Bikini Bottom. And that's when they came up with the bizarre Fruit Salad Island, home to a talking coconut wearing shorts and flip-flops, doing all kinds of weird, wacky stuff. I get that the goal was to make something kind of like SpongeBob.
Yeah.
They really gave it a shot, but I swear.
You know, not too shabby.
Just looking at this Fred guy gives me the creeps. Doesn't he?
Yeah, the show looks horrible. The art style is horrible. The ideas, the textures are all horrible. But the idea of the show, not bad. Not mad at it.
Disturbing.
Yeah, the looks are the worst part.
Empty. Anyway, the show was such a huge flop that it got canceled after just 13 episodes. If you think about it, SpongeBob has over 300 episodes, multiple spin-offs, and tons of movies. So yeah, we can definitely...
Yeah, this show got canceled so quick, I never even knew this was part of Cartoon Network's lore. As somebody who watched Cartoon Network, I've never knew that this was on Cartoon Network.
They say that Fred turned out to be a very failed ripoff. But you'd be wrong to think that only Cartoon Network tried to reel in fans who love hilarious underwater stories.
Nah, I don't agree with this. Maybe... there's evidence. Maybe the Fishhook director says, yo, I got this from SpongeBob. I don't believe Fishhooks was off of the ideals of SpongeBob. I think you could you could say they're synonymous, like, in the fact that they're fish underwater, but I kind of feel like that's kind of where it stops. I'm not gonna lie.
Because the almighty
Fishhooks was lit.
Disney, the world's biggest animation company, did the exact same thing back in 2010 when it launched the animated series Fishhooks.
Right.
The show follows Milo, Oscar, his brother, and B. Goldfish Bird.
Right, and then them going through the tanks and everything was so unique. Nah, I don't think this is the same thing.
3 teen fish who live inside tanks at a pet store and attend freshwater high school. The series combines high school drama with totally over-the-top adventures like giant lobster attacks or trips into hamster cages. Just like SpongeBob, Fishhooks is set in an aquatic world, though this one is in a tank, not the ocean, sticking to the idea of a weird and funny life underwater. Even though it's clearly inspired by Bikini Bottom, we've got to admit Disney's take isn't bad at all. Actually, the series is pretty fun and silly, with episodes filled with bizarre situations.
I don't think this one is inspired necessarily from SpongeBob. I just think it's two fish shows. If it's inspired from SpongeBob, it has to strictly be like from the perspective of like, let's make it with fish and underwater, which would be a dumb thing to base like a franchise off of. If you're only thinking about, yo, if we get, like, nobody's going in a boardroom like, yo, if we put fish underwater, that's what's gonna make us viral, bro. We'll figure out everything else later. I don't think that's what it was like, bro.
Reactions from the characters, kind of like what we love
Appreciate the
about
first time
SpongeBob.
chat, Bree.
And on top of that, the main trio is basically a Disney-fied version of SpongeBob's crew, with Milo being the SpongeBob equivalent, Oscar as the Patrick type but way smarter, and Bee and Sandy both being the smart, tough girls of their squads. There's no denying the show.
I don't even think Sandy's even included with the trio. When you said trio, I don't think anybody would have said Sandy before Squidward. And yeah, I think it's SpongeBob, Squidward, Patrick. If you think the trio is SpongeBob, not SpongeBob, Patrick, Sandy. I don't know, bro. I feel like this one I don't think this one is
Looks and feels a lot like SpongeBob, but hey, if you're gonna copy, at least make it entertaining. Maybe Cartoon Network could take a hint.
Nah, this isn't copying.
The series ran for 3 seasons and had a solid 110 wacky episodes.
Great.
Moving on with our list,
show.
Let's talk about another cartoon that you've probably never seen or even heard of.
Almost Naked Animals. I actually do remember this one. Whoa, this got washed from my memory that this even existed. Yo, the mango, you feel me?
And I say that because even I hadn't heard of it until I started doing research for this very video. It's an animated show released by Cartoon
Am I
Network
old?
in January 2011 called Almost Naked Animals, which takes place in a tropical resort called the Banana Cabana, run by Howie, a loud goofy dog, and his wacky team. Octo, a nervous octopus. Bunny, a short-tempered rabbit. Duck, Piggy, Narwhal, Sloth, and a few others.
This is
right
crazy.
Away, just looking at the show's logo and
did.
poster, you can tell they tried once again to include underwater vibes with seashells and starfish on the beach, probably hoping to...
Hey, I watched the fuck out of this. I can't even lie, bro. No, this guy watches out of me too. Dang, this is actually crazy. I completely forgot this existed, bro.
grab the attention of SpongeBob fans. And believe it or not, some of the smaller details clearly show they took at least a few ideas from Nickelodeon's hit and repackaged them. For example, the main character, Howie the dog, even though he's a totally different animal, is bright yellow like SpongeBob, and his voice is almost identical to the one used by the Krusty.
Okay, I was gonna say bright yellow like SpongeBob is such a reach, but okay, voice identical, I could give that.
Krabs Fry Cook.
Dirk Danger's birthday is coming up, and they've decided to hold a surprise
I could give you
party
that.
here at the Banana Cabana.
I could give you
Also,
that.
his best buddy is a purple octopus, which looks a lot like Patrick Star, and there's a girl in the main crew
Okay, I could give you that.
named Bunny, a rodent just like Sandy. The only difference, one's a bunny, the other's a
I feel like you're missing me with the Sandy thing. I don't think Sandy's as main group adjacent as he thinks. I think Squidward is. I would throw Mr. Krabs in the main group before I throw Sandy in the main group. I don't know. It's just like, I don't think a writer's room is looking at Sandy and like, yo, we have to have a Sandy in here. I get like maybe having a smart character, but I don't think they're looking at saying they need a Sandy in here though.
squirrel. Too many coincidences, don't you think? The show ran for 3 seasons
saying,
until
Ayo.
2013. Meanwhile, SpongeBob is still going strong after
Gary
more than
too,
25
yup.
years on the air. We've talked a lot about animation companies trying to copy SpongeBob, some from faraway places like
Right.
Iran and the Netherlands. But what if we told you that Nickelodeon itself, the very studio behind the square-pantsed Sponge, ended up creating its own
I
knockoff of its
agree,
biggest
Ayo.
hit? Sounds crazy, right? But that's exactly what many people thought when the Kids channel launched Bunson is a Beast. In 2017, the show was all about Bunson, a little blue monster who becomes the first beast to attend Muckledunk Middle School.
Okay, I off rip, this one was inspired by SpongeBob. I didn't watch this. I've never seen this. I will say this was inspired by SpongeBob.
A
I will
human
say
school.
that.
He quickly becomes best friends with a boy named Mikey Monroe and the quirky Darcy, all while clashing with the main antagonist, Amanda Killman, who's determined to get Bunson kicked out and stop monsters from mixing with humans. Okay, but what does any of this have to do with SpongeBob? Simple. Bunson is basically a land-dwelling blue monster version of SpongeBob.
Yeah.
He's got the exact same type of voice. He's obsessed with being liked.
It's
and
like if you took SpongeBob on dry land, you gave him a new cast of kids. That's what this is.
making friends, and just like SpongeBob, he's got those big round eyes and over-the-top energy. The
Yeah.
show only lasted 1 season and quickly faded into oblivion. You
Yeah.
probably wouldn't even know it existed if you weren't watching this video right now.
Facts.
Please say hello to our new student, Bunson. Hi, new student.
And that's it for our list. But don't leave just yet. We've got 2 more videos.
But this is a fire video. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure that you guys like, comment twice, and helps me in the algo. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.